Did you know that by the end of 2024, over 2 million people living in the UK were on a path to permanent residency or citizenship? That's right, 2.1 million migrants, working, studying, building families, and contributing to society, were looking forward to one thing: settlement, also known as Indefinite Leave to Remain, or ILR. But now everything might be about to change. On May 12, 2025, the UK government dropped a major announcement in its new immigration white paper, and it's set to shake up the journey to British citizenship for millions. The key headline? For many migrants, the wait for settlement could double, from 5 years to 10. The government hasn't confirmed exactly who will be affected yet, and the details are still being worked out. But this change could impact millions. As of the end of 2024, around 4 million people were living in the UK on valid temporary visas and had arrived less than 10 years earlier. Under current rules, anyone who's lived legally in the UK for 10 years can apply for settlement through what's known as the long residence route, regardless of their visa type. But here's the key detail: about 53% of those temporary visa holders, that's roughly 2.1 million people, were on visas that can lead to settlement. The new policy could extend the path to settlement for many of them. On one hand, the government could bring in more revenue through extended immigration fees, but on the other, delaying settlement could seriously hurt migrant integration and create more uncertainty for families and workers who've built their lives here. So, who might be affected? Let's look at the main visa categories as of the end of 2024. Worker visas. Roughly 1.4 million people held a worker visa. These are people in jobs across the country, from care homes and construction sites to tech offices and hospitals. Now, not all worker visas are created equal. Some, like intra-company transfers, don't even lead to settlement. In fact, about 10% of new worker visas issued in 2024 were in this category. But the good news? Many worker visa holders may still qualify for settlement after 5 years, especially if they're making strong contributions to the economy. To give you an idea, skilled worker visa holders, outside of the health and care sectors, had median earnings of 56,600 investor, business and global talent visas. About 38,000 people held visas in this category. There's no official guidance yet, but it's likely the government will offer these individuals faster settlement pathways, especially if they're seen as making significant contributions to the economy or innovation. Humanitarian and refugee status. Then we have approximately 207,000 people who held refugee status or similar humanitarian permission. Here, the situation is especially unclear. We don't yet know whether there will be exemptions or reduced qualifying periods for this group. Much will depend on future consultations and policy decisions. BNO visas. 189,000 people held British national or overseas visas at the end of 2024. Under current rules, BNO holders are eligible for settlement after 5 years. But we don't know if the new rules will change that. Family visas. Around 313,000 people were on family visas. According to the white paper, the 5-year route to settlement will remain in place for family members of British citizens. However, if you're the family member of someone who has ILR but hasn't yet become a citizen, you might not be protected under this exception. It's also worth noting that some family members are already on 10-year routes to settlement under existing rules. Visas with no direct path to settlement. Finally, let's talk about the 1.7 million people, roughly 42% of all temporary visa holders, who are on visas that don't currently offer any path to settlement. This includes 961,000 international students, 264,000 graduate visa holders, 286,000 people on Ukraine schemes, and 145,000 on temporary worker or other ineligible visa types. These groups aren't directly impacted by the changes to settlement rules, but many of them do hope to switch into visas that can lead to settlement in the future. So changes now could affect their long-term plans. So, what happens next? The big idea in the white paper is simple. For many, the standard route to settlement will shift from 5 years to 10. But, and this is important, there will be exceptions. For example, the 5-year path will remain for family members of British citizens, and there will be a reduced qualifying period for migrants who make what the government calls points-based contributions to the UK's economy and society. The problem is, we still don't know what counts as a valid contribution. No clear list, no criteria, just the promise that more detail will come.